Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for watching today. So today, I'm going to be talking about notes and journals. And do you have one? Or do you have a journal, a notepad? Do you use your phone? Do you have something that you're consistently writing down ideas and thoughts and things that you learn in one place? Over years of being in real estate, being in business, uh, over a career, you're going to take classes, you're going to learn from mentors, you're going to go to seminars. Do you have a place where you're writing all these things down? So I learned a long time ago from some self-help books, from learning from mentors that I had when I started in real estate, that you really had to keep track or keep a journal, I like to say, of the things that you've been learning, ideas, classes. When I go to a class now, well, let me say, back in the day, before iPhones, we'll just put that way, I had a notepad, a legal notepad of writing ideas, writing thoughts down, and then I would go to a journal, and I would have something that a book, like a notebook of things. So the journals I'm talking about and notes is not like the journal, like when you're a kid and writing down your whole life story. You can use it as that. I know a lot of successful people do that carry a journal, like a very nice book, and write down their life, their things that are happening, basically documenting the things that are going on in their life, but also writing down successful business people are writing down ideas and thoughts and things that they see. So today I wanted to go over that because every day, the number one thing, and I'm going to be going over a few of these ideas, the number one thing on my phone outside of text messages that I use is my notes. I don't know if you do. It's just something that I have, and I do it. I have notes upon notes, and I organize them. I just looked this morning before I wrote my notes for this class, for this video. I had 772 notes in my notes. So a lot of them, are just things that were happening to me that day. I never deleted. And things that, notes of notes, to remind myself. But a lot of those are from classes that I've taken. I put headers on them of books that I've read, of things that I want to remind. So today I'm going to kind of go over some ideas and things that you should be doing, of writing things down, keeping track of them, and using a little bit of technology. I'm going to go over what I use for notes, because if you have a notebook or a note or a journal, an actual physical journal, it's great to have that. And you could reference that and have notes and put headers and things. That's what I used to do, and try to flip through them. But I'm going to kind of go into the new age of technology and things that you can do. So if you're not taking notes or writing down ideas or things that you're thinking about, here are some things to think about. So I'm going to go through a couple of ideas for you, because it really is good to do, because you can never remember everything. You're going to see things, you're going to have thoughts of what you can do in business. And I'm going to basically, I'm going to jump to the end. And basically why I want to go through all this, because it's never too late. It's never too late. I have ideas that I have not even touched yet that are years old because I never got to implement them yet, but I have them. So I jump to the end. Now I'm going to fill in the blanks. So number one, pick something that you're going to use. Are you going to use a booklet? Are you going to use a notepad? What are you going to do to organize these thoughts? I like the iPhone notes. If you have an iPhone, the notes are great. It's right there. You can keep them. Mine are synced with my iCloud. So if I'm on my iMac, or if I'm on my tablet or iPad, everything's synced like instantly. So no matter what I use, my notes are always synced. So pick something easy that you will use and constantly use and never lose too. So of course, that's our phone. And also with technology, it's backed up in the cloud. So no matter if you choose different phones, you'll never lose it. Number two, of course, is keep it with you at all times, because you never know when you're going to have a thought or an idea or learn something from someone or see something that you have, you're like, wow, that was an interesting way of doing business. That's maybe I could implement something like that in my life. This could all be done per personal things. I'm kind of going over more business oriented things, but also personal. Like, wow, I saw something that I really want to do in my personal life. Wow, that works. I want to go to that restaurant. Or what was, a list of movies that you want to see, a list of books you want to read. So if you don't have notes, I mean, I know a lot of people do, of thoughts and things. Now it's time to put into one thing and use one system so you can keep all your business and personal notes together. So number 2 is keep it with you at all times. Number 3 is 3, 4, and 5 are more things that you can do. Number 3 is ask people and yourself questions all of the time. So ask people questions is that if you see, I do this almost every day. I see something on social media. I talk to an agent that gives me another idea that something that they implemented that works for them. I see, on different groups and chat groups of other Central 1 brokers and owners. I see someone that's doing something that's working for them, best practices. I'll send them a message. Hey, how did you do that? How long did it take you? So constantly in your life, ask questions. It's in business and personal life. And then 2, ask yourself, how can I implement that? Now I'm going to go into the technology of writing those type of things in your notes. When I write things into my notes app on my iPhone, I put a header on it and I write things that might remind me because something I might be too busy to implement for a while. So what can I remember? A word, a phrase, something so I could reference that. Because the great thing about the notes is that you could just type in the search and it'll pull up every note you have with that word in it. So that's hard when it's a book. When it's a book, you got to keep on flipping through. You might never find that note, that journal, that thing that you wrote. Oh, just a step back. When I write down, a lot of my notes are letters. When I write a letter to people or a long email or something personal, something I'm using, a lot of times I don't use my word, my email first or my word processor first. I use my notes first and then cut and paste it and put it in there because it keeps a copy of it and then I can reference it a little bit easier. So it's like a journal of the letter I wrote or the email that I wrote. So that's why I have 772 notes. There's letters in there. There's notes in there. There's personal letters. There's things in there. So hopefully, I got to keep my password pretty private. Everybody can find my whole life story in my notes. So that's another thing that you can do. So you have a record of a letter that you wrote or email that you wrote. But of course, you have that in email too, but it's all in one system there. So keep on asking. Number 3 was keep on asking people questions, yourself questions, things to write down, things to learn. Number 4, take notes on every book or every class you ever take. So if you're what I do when I'm reading a book, I have my notes there, and I say, wow, that's interesting. Let me write a note to that. Let me reference that later on. Or I'm taking a class online, or when I took classes in person. Hopefully we get back to that. I'm at a seminar. When I go into Central 1 conventions or broker owner meetings or events and things like that, I'm always have my phone open. A lot of people think I'm on the phone texting someone and not paying attention, but most of the time I'm on my notes, writing notes, so I can reference those. I have notes that are in there from conventions from 10 years ago of things that are there. I'll never delete them. You never know when things can come up. So that's number 4, take notes. Number 5, and last on the ideas, is be curious about everything and always look for opportunities of when you're around. An entrepreneur, my thought process or my view on an entrepreneur's curiosity is number 1. How do things work? I feel that I've always had that. I'm sure you being in real estate and starting to want to be your own boss, start your own business in real estate, you're have an entrepreneurial heart, which means you're curious. How do people do things? What makes people successful? How does that work? How do you get more buyers? How do you get more sellers? Why is that agent's marketing working better than that agent's marketing? What are the keys to success in real estate and sales? Always watching what everybody's doing. You got to see what everybody's doing. You can't have blinders on and just think that your system is going to be always the system that works and yours ideas. But so always watch, be curious, watch for thoughts or ideas that are working for other people in writing these things down and keeping a note of them. And again, I'm sorry, going back to technology, it's good because then you could find it. So every time you're writing a note, so if you're going to take this advice and use it, every time you're writing a note, think of what your self would think of, kind of like when you, it might be a bad example, when you hide something from yourself or you put something away, like something, that you're not going to use for a while. You store something away, in your closet or in a drawer somewhere. And what do you think to yourself? It's like, what am I going to think of 3 years from now when I'm trying to look for that thing? Where do you think I would put it? You ever happened to you where I'm like, gosh, where did I put it? Let me think of what I would have thought 3 years ago, where I would have placed something so myself today could remember where it is. Does that make sense? That's how you have to write your notes, because it might be something you want to reference a year from now, a thought, a feeling, of a movie. So that's why, if I have like movies I want to see or books I want to read, of course, I write books, movies, and then also, back to keeping on with the technology. The great thing about the notes for Apple is that every time you update one or write something new or add to something, it starts fresh and it's on top of the list if you have it organized by the date of the last it was updated. So, which is nice for what I do with my notes. When I have business notes or ideas or things, my top things are here, are always on top. The things that I'm always updating and going into, they're always on top. I don't have to go back, scroll through millions of notes to find the one note that I had. But the one, so if you have a note on a certain process or thought or system you want to use or idea or personal thoughts, it will always be on top. So then also you could go down if you ever want to filter out things or delete things, and I do that occasionally. I'll go down and see what the last note that I wrote, the last one that I ever opened, and see if is it something worth saving, and you can easily delete it. So again, those 5 things were basically pick something that you will use, either something nice written journal that you'll carry with you or keep with you all the time. Something that will, again, too, be with you at all times. So it's not something you'll use, something you'll have with you all of the time, because you never know when you're going to be writing things down. Number 3 is ask people and yourself questions about what you're seeing, what you're writing, and what you're feeling, and maybe how you're going to use that information that you're writing down. 4, take notes on every book or every class you're taking. You should have some notes, because I'm a firm believer you're going to take at least one good thing, minimum one good thing of every book, every article, every class you ever take. You're going to take something out of it. You could even, in my opinion, take out, never take this kind of class again. I don't like it. That's something of value. It might save you time the next time. So there's something that you can take from that. And then 5, be curious and always look for opportunities of ideas or thoughts, even on social media. When I'm going through Facebook and, browsing through it a couple times a day for a few minutes, I'm seeing maybe something, a business card some agent ordered that looks cool. Like I saw a couple yesterday of and I saw 2 different agents that ordered these neat characters of themselves and a sign that they found on a certain website. So I wrote a note of that so I could tell that to my agents of where to get these kind of things. So I'm always writing notes. So always be curious, always be ready. And then the last 2 things, that are most important to remember is that knowledge, information, and ideas, like knowledge, information, ideas, everything that you learn, everything that you see, any idea is basically useless if you don't implement it or have it affect you in a positive way. So if you read a book and none of those ideas or thoughts help you navigate to where you want to be, it was a useless book. Why did you read it? Why did you go through every page if you're not going to believe in anything or help it in a positive way towards you? And any idea or thought that you want to remember and put into a note, if you never implement it, it's kind of useless. But it's never too late because we're busy. You're never going to be able to go every idea or every thought or every memory you're going to have to go back and go over. But if you write notes down them, even if it's a personal feeling and you want to reference someday how you felt, or if you actually want to use a journal like a diary, that's the difference between a journal and a diary, in my opinion. A diary is just kind of what I felt today, what I did today, and could be great things to reference. So how you felt, how you got through things, how you accomplished things, that's great. And if you love to do that kind of narrative, that's awesome. I'm more technical and bullet point type person. That you can do that too, but it's never too late to reference something. It's never too late to rehash something, or in a good way, that is, light a fire to it again, get it going again, get the juices flowing of creativity, of an idea. Because when it comes down to life and success and happiness, there's nothing that's changed. What happiness is to people and success is the same as it was like 100 years ago. The same feelings, the same things, just technology and the way we do things might be a little bit different, but the feelings, the ideas, the notes that you could write down are specific to what you and your life and your business are, but you have to write these things down, or at least memorize them. My memory is mush. I'll just say that, because I have so many things, and of course, the people closest to me, my family, know that Dad might not remember everything because I have so much things going on in my mind, and I write notes so I can reference things. Because my opinion is, if your mind's similar to mine, if you're trying to remember everything and be like that, if you have that great mind to be able to remember everything and everything's on top of your mind and you always know, that's great. I don't have that. A lot of us don't. And if you don't have that, you have to write notes and to remind yourself, and again, not daily tasks, but things that you remember years ago. Those people, you remember 5 years ago, we went to that one class and they told us this. Well, let me look at my notes. I'll find it. I can't remember all of that. But if you don't have that type of photographic memory of you can remember everything, and you don't have notes, I would suggest try to start writing some notes down, a journal down of ideas, thoughts, and you might enjoy it. I enjoy it. I go back through my notes. This is something I do when I'm on an airplane for 2 hours, and if I don't get Wi-Fi and I'm looking at other things, I'm going through my notes, organizing those and seeing some thoughts and some ideas, and I pop up things that I took before, and it sparks some, more creativity of things that I just didn't get to. There's always going to be things in life we don't get to, and it's great to write those down to remind ourselves someday it's never too late. So that's it for today. Hopefully that just a little bit of information might help you get the creativity going, maybe do some writing and some note-taking and some journals, entries, and you maybe use iPhone Notes or some other, if you have a Droid, using whatever their app is, or just going old school with a nice journal book and pen, and writing those things down, and keeping a record of everything that you learn in life. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow at 11 with a little more real estate technical training. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.